Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Drawing with Nikki and today I'm going to attempt to draw Terry. This is Terry, Terry the teddy, and he was found sitting on top of a skip, left abandoned, and he was a bit dirty and a bit scruffy, so I took him home, gave him a good wash, and now he has a nice home. So I chose him because I think he's very cute and I like his form and his big nose, and so today we're going to try and do a biro pen drawing of Terry. I am new to this YouTubing or vlogging, so please remember to hit subscribe or like if you like this channel, and thank you very much. Let's get started. So here is an example of a drawing I did earlier of Terry the Ted. I hope you can see it. Blue and white doesn't really show up. And here is another one that I am still working on. Before you start this, it might be worthwhile trying out this technique of using the biro pen to create texture, which, as you can see, is a controlled sort of mark making where you do short marks like that, which you change as you follow the direction of the texture around the form of your object. In this case it's Terry. So I'm just building up the texture of Terry here with these marks, just short lines, repeating them and overlapping them, and hopefully you'll get the right sort of texture to build up and make the teddy nice, and give him lots and lots of hair that goes in different directions as it falls across the shape of the body. Alright, so that is basically the technique, just this very simple way to apply texture. And there's the texture there. You gradually build that up. So let's get started. Front on view, I quite like that angle, although you can't really see the teddy's eyes. And to help with the drawing, especially if you're a beginner, it will help if you have a photograph which is already in 2D. Alright, so that will help you with your drawing, especially when you're trying to figure out, the direction of line. And we'll have Terry the right way up. Thank you. Alright, so we're going to start. I'm going to start drawing on a piece of cardboard here, for a few reasons. One, paper doesn't seem to show up very well, and I quite like the idea of working on a surface that isn't completely white. And we're going to choose a biro pen now, and I think I was talking about using a purpley pink colour, which is this here. Now, to start with, I'm going to draw the teddy's nose and work from inside out. So I'm not going to draw the whole teddy to begin with. I'm just going to start with the shape of the nose there and work out. So let's begin. Right, now we'll just put right, okay, make sure we can see everything, and we'll start with the sort of shape of the nose. I'll draw that coming around and down, and things that appear roundish, I'll just start to draw that, bring that out a bit here, so you can correct as you go. Now it will take some time to build up. This is quite a dark tone of the nose, so we're going to gradually build that up. But from here I can start to work out distances, so I'm starting to measure the distances from the next part of his nose, the sort of muzzle, and it comes round underneath, and then you can see more of this side, come out a bit wider on this side, and then up over the top of the nose, and back round again. From there, I can start to bring that down a bit. I can start to place the eyes. There's one here and there's one here, and with this teddy you can't really see, he's got such a gigantic nose, you can't really see much of the eyes at all, and there's a lot of texture. And then from there I can start to draw in a little bit of the top of his head, and then of course there's a seam here, there must be a seam over here but you can't see that for the fur, and that comes round here and just a little bit under his nose. It comes around, and then here we can see a little bit more of his face because he's not completely even, which I think adds to the character of the Ted. Right, there's an ear, and then there's another ear here. So there are the basic shapes to start us off. Now I'm going to start to build up the texture, and as you build up the texture, you follow the direction of the hairs. So it's a kind of scratchy texture that I'm making with the pen. And this is quite a light area up here, and then a little bit darker here where there's another seam. And again, the texture changes direction, so always keep that in mind as you're building up your drawing. So the texture changed direction slightly here because there's a seam, and it comes up and round the eyes and down the side of his face. You always have to look at the object you're drawing. It's very good practice. Now I'm going to stop that there. Okay, so this is an eye, we don't want to lose that, so I'm going to start to draw that in a bit more. Maybe try and leave a little bit of highlight, very subtle, and then build up this texture. I like the biro pen because it gives you lots and lots of fine line to play about with, which is ideal for this kind of texture that I'm trying to build up. Now it's probably a good idea if you start, especially if you're using a biro pen, because it's smudging and stuff, and you don't really want to be leaning over what you've just drawn, because it will stick to your hand and smudge over the paper or card, whatever you're drawing on. So I'm going to start focusing on this side of his face, building up the hair. He's got quite a scruffy look to him, which again is part of his pure character. Building that up gradually. Again, it's a bit darker in this area, and then we've got this eye in here, it's a bit hiding in amongst all the fur. The fur is kind of going across there, and slightly different directions from the other side of his face. Now, you've got to be careful not to add too much texture. You don't want the same texture all over. You want some lighter textures in some areas and darker textures in others. And this is how you create the form. And as you go around, you might sort of notice your mistake. So actually his head comes up a little bit higher than that. So I can extend that up while I'm working. So remember, you can always add to your drawing, but you can't really take it away. And certainly when you're using a biro pen like this, you can't rub it out. So just work with your mistakes. So you need to put less texture on to begin with, and gradually you can see where you need to add in some darker areas by layering pen marks on top. And there's some darker areas around here. Again, don't want to lose that eye completely. And then there's some short texture that comes around, changes direction as it folds around the form. I hope you can see that. Okay, so this is much lighter texture here. So even when you're using a biro pen, you can lift, try and lift the pressure off the pen when you're making your marks. You see the direction changes again as it comes around the muzzle. And it kind of straightens out here, so it kind of fans out around the nose. I'm trying to make some lighter marks now as it curves up and over. And so we're using texture to create tone here, some darker tones, especially underneath where the light doesn't catch under here. And then that separates the head from the rest of the body, and these here it comes around like that. There's lots and lots of layers and lots of mark making here. Again, I don't want it all to be the same. I'm not sure that this is working out. The surface is quite difficult to work on top actually. I might have to start again. I feel like the pen is digging too deep. Now this area here is very, very dark. There are no highlights on this nose, it's completely matte. Look at this. Oh, hand's starting to hurt. You can see the texture of the cardboard coming through as well. I'm not sure if that adds to it. Right. Okay, from here I can go back and I can add more to the nose and darken that up. And we've got some hair just under here. Now, shoulders. Now the shoulders don't start down below his head. In fact, his shoulders are quite high up, which I like that as well. So here we've got this shoulders higher. This shoulder here is maybe slightly lower down, which gives him more sort of an animated look, like he's alive in some respects. Might want to work into some of these areas again. hard to build up the texture on the surface of this cardboard. The pen wants to dig holes in it. Now, as you're coming around here, it means that you can start to measure out, okay, the gap between his shoulders and armpit, which seems to be about here, and then it gives you the thickness of the arm. And then we'll come around the other side and we'll start to build that up too. Now he has a seam down the middle which is not very apparent, and his head is quite big. I'm off the camera, you can see that. So just change this, oh, coming out. Right, now, are we in focus? Okay, so onto the belly now. We're just building up the texture, and I'm going to exaggerate this seam down here. Now here, the fur sort of curves around his belly, and then when we get to that stage, we can go back up where his armpit is, and then there's another seam that comes down here at that sort of angle. He's got longer hair, which goes in this direction. It's got a slight fold here, and it's much darker in here as well. Yeah, maybe this board is not the best to draw on. I like the idea of using something that was also in our recycling bin, since he's kind of recycled himself, and my pen has just gone through and made a little bit of a hole there. There. These are shorter hairs on top. So I'm kind of changing this technique a little bit, making it scribbly. Certain things that I need to change right here. Now then, his belly kind of comes round and then meets here, where that leg starts. And that leg comes out here, and there's a kind of gap between his armpit or oxter and the shape of his leg comes round and then goes back up again. His foot, which could maybe draw in a little bit. Keeping in mind this might be not quite right, so we might have to change that a little bit. And his arm comes out, his arm's about the same length as his foot, his arm is rounded, and of course there's another seam in his arm. Right, so here's Terry, the Ted. I enjoyed drawing him. I hope you do too. It's amazing what you can do with a biro pen. And thank you for watching. I'll be putting up more videos in the next few days. So I hope you like it, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, thank you.